Hi, I'm Joe from Cardsmith, and in this video, I'll go over the basics of Cardsmith. We'll cover creating boards, using different board views, adding cards, and adding fields to cards. When you sign up for Cardsmith and land on the Cardsmith home board, you'll notice there are two sections, My Boards and Boards Shared with Me. We've pre-seeded a board in each section. Now here in My Boards is a starter board you might want to look at. Before we jump in deeper, I want to tell you 4 quick things about the Cardsmith interface that'll make it a lot easier for you as you learn how to use it. Number 1, we make extensive use of the mouse hover function. We didn't want to clutter up the clean interface, so menu options are only visible when you hover over an item. For example, to see the card menu, you'll want to hover, not click, but hover over a card. All our menus are 3 horizontal lines, known as a hamburger menu, because it looks a little like a bun with a burger inside. Number 2, you don't have to save anything. Saving happens automatically as you work. Number 3, everything can be dragged to reposition it. Cards, columns, or rows in a grid view, fields inside of a card, just drag and drop. And number 4, to get back to the home board, where all your boards will live, click on the Cardsmith logo in the upper left corner of your board. So let's get into creating your first board. A board is a container that will hold multiple digital sticky notes, or cards as we call them, in Cardsmith. Think of it like a whiteboard or a wall or maybe a page of large flip chart paper. This is your canvas where you can add and arrange your digital sticky notes. Boards in Cardsmith have a few different view options. There's a freeform view, which truly is analogous to that piece of flip chart paper or the wall. You can place cards anywhere on the board. The easiest way to add a digital sticky note here is to press and hold your mouse on the board until a card appears. Then you can type a title on your card. Now think of the card title like the area on a sticky note that you can actually write on. By design, the title is intended to be short, about 3 lines of typed text, max. This limitation helps you keep your main idea short and clear. Now, don't worry if you need a longer explanation. You'll be able to add that to the quote-unquote inside of the card shortly when we get into adding fields to cards. The default card color is white, but let's say you want to use a color for all your digital sticky notes. To do this, let's change the color of one of my cards here. I'll pick this sky blue color. If I want subsequent cards to be blue, I can set this card as my default card. Notice now that when I add more cards, they're all sky blue by default. In this freeform view of my board, I can add cards. I can move them anywhere using drag and drop. If you want to expand your canvas to be able to add more cards, try using the zoom slider to make more space. You can place cards way off to the right or on the bottom of the viewable area, and when you zoom back in, you'll have cards out of sight, but you can move to those cards if you use the scroll bars or your mouse trackpad. We mentioned before that there are multiple views possible in a Cardsmith board, and the reason why we start you out in a freeform view is because when you start working on a new project or thinking about a new problem, it can be ideal to just be in a freeform or brainstorming mode. When you're doing this, you're putting your thoughts or ideas or tasks anywhere that makes sense to you, and then moving them around into groups that make sense, ideas that are semantically related. Once you start grouping, you can switch the view using this icon here to go from freeform to grid. Now your cards are all still here. They're in the hidden cards drawer. You'll be able to put them anywhere in your grid or even leave some in the hidden cards drawer if they don't fit into your grid view. The default grid is 2 rows by 2 columns, but you can customize that by adding or deleting rows or columns, and you'll probably want to give titles to your rows and columns. And don't worry, you can revisit your freeform view anytime. It hasn't gone anywhere. But there is a third view. It's the tile view. Our metrics indicate that this one isn't used as often, but it can be handy because every card associated with this board will be shown in the browser window. There is no hidden cards drawer. If you're here and you need to find a particular card and you want to search on the card title, you can use Control F and then type the title to find a card. Let's go back to the freeform view and talk a little bit about card fields. Card fields aren't possible in physical sticky notes, but in Cardsmith cards, they're used to further describe your ideas or tasks. Now, there's 4 types of fields. The most commonly used is a text field. You can use a text field to simply type text into, or you can paste in a URL, and it'll automatically become a link. You can even add numbers, and later on, you'll be able to add up the values of these numbers across multiple cards. The second field type is an image field. You can add a JPEG or PNG file to the card using drag and drop, or you can import from your local files. The third field type is a checklist. Checklists are really useful if you want to use Cardsmith to track work that flows through a repeatable process. For example, if you write blog posts, you might have a list of things you need to remember to do every time, like adding keywords or creating copy for a social media post. In our blog post tracker template board, you can see an example of this. The fourth field type is a link field. These can be useful for creating what we call pretty links. When you want to link to a website or a document in the cloud, but you don't want people to see the long, ugly URL. Now you can add fields and later arrange them using drag and drop. There's a couple more things to know about fields. Fields can have labels. Labels are optional. You can simply add fields and use them to type text or checklists. But if you want your Cardsmith board to serve as, say, a tracking system for a workflow, or maybe you're using it to design a process or project plan, and later you want to export the data from Cardsmith into another application, you'll want to use labels. And you'll want the labels to be consistent across all or several cards. So to do this, let's go back to this concept of setting the default card. Once I have the fields in a card created and arranged the way I want them, I can set that card as the default card. Now, adding new cards will automatically have all the fields with their labels on them. If you enjoyed this video, please press the like button below. Feel free to leave any comments or questions in the comments below as well. And if you'd like to keep learning about Cardsmith and the variety of collaborative and visual methodologies that Cardsmith supports, please subscribe to our channel. You'll be the first to know when we deliver new content.